Welcome to The Coalition. This is a talk show dedicated to discussing health, wellness, and inspiration. I'm your host, Dr. Shani Belgrave. Welcome to The Coalition. I'm your host, Dr. Shani Belgrave. I am a bariatric and minimally invasive surgeon in Atlanta, Georgia. You can learn more about me and get connected at www.drshanibelgrave.com. I have been looking forward to this episode. Today, I'm excited to welcome to the coalition Dr. Tremaine Jones-Afedibor, also known as Dr. Flava, the Wellness Foodie Pharmacist. Dr. Flava completed her doctorate in pharmacy at Xavier University in Louisiana. She has a passion for using food as medicine, and she's also going to talk to us about her line of healthy spices and so much more. Dr. Flava, thank you so much for joining the coalition.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Shani. I'm excited to be here and to meet some new people on your platform here.
Absolutely. So I was telling the viewers a little bit about who you are. You've done a lot of great work. You've been featured in numerous media outlets, including Essence Magazine and NBC. And so thank you for joining the coalition.
Thank you. I'm even more excited to be here.
All right, well, let's jump right to it then. So, Dr. Flava, can you please tell us about your path from being a pharmacist to becoming the Wellness Foodie Pharmacist?
Absolutely. So my journey began as a pharmacist back in 2004, where I graduated from Xavier University of Louisiana. And I always had a passion for people, to help the community. And even throughout my experience as a pharmacist, I actually practiced for 15 years. And I always was looking for something else, right, outside of those four walls. And one of the things that I always loved to do, even in college, was cooking. I love to cook. That was one of my greatest passions. And then over the years, I realized just working in pharmacy, working in the community, people were coming in for more and more prescriptions. It seems as though they were getting sicker, and we were never really getting to the root cause of it. And so I found that a lot of times when I was actually counseling patients, we would always go back to food. And I would ask them, well, what is it that you're eating? Because the number one thing people would ask me, what can I do for energy? And I would say, well, what are you eating? And a lot of times I would recommend you going to eat a salad or going to eat a smoothie or something like that, rather than me try to give you some vitamins, right off the bat. Because typically, if you tell me you're eating a lot of processed foods and things of that nature, I know that that can lead to you feeling a lot of tiredness. So just throughout that 15 years and coming into contact with thousands of patients, I knew that I had to do something a little bit different. And I took my background in pharmacy, mixed it with my love of cooking, and created a healthy, all natural seasoning line, which then led to fast forward now to 2022, 2024, where I started realizing the power of food being used as medicine. Even in my own health journey, I'm not shy to say my age. I'm going on 44, and I have not had to be prescribed diabetes medications, high blood pressure medications, which ran in my family. And so that really is what pushed me. And that's why I am so passionate about helping our community and helping people with food, because food to me is really where health really begins.
I think that's so important because, and I agree about really cutting back on the sugars, the processed foods. So many of the guests that I've had on the show, whether it be the cardiologist, the colorectal surgeon, we realize that it's affecting all of the organ systems. And so it's really important, in addition to exercise, but what we put into our bodies really is important. So, what prompted you to write the book, The Pharmacist's Guide, How to Help Yourself?
So absolutely. Oh, look at there with my book in your hand. I feel so excited.
I read it. It's
good. So actually, I wrote this in 2019. That's when I departed from pharmacy, 2019. And we were going right into 2020. And I said, God, I got to release this book. I want to get this book out. And I said, give me what you want me to talk about in this book. And I felt like I wanted to tell people more about my background, my experience, what I overcome, as well as giving people, I say, a little small anatomy overview, right? Because I feel like if people understand how their body works, they will be more cognizant of what they're doing to their bodies. We can put on these beautiful clothes, makeup, earrings, and cover up everything and look very beautiful on the outside. But what's going on the inside? And I always talk about knowing your numbers. So that's in the book as well, because I feel like your numbers, right, can really help you identify what's really going on in your body. And then we can use this as a proactive approach. And that's what this book is about, a proactive approach to us helping ourselves and giving you tips and tools that you need. So it's a little overview over what the heart does, the kidneys, the liver. I tell you a little bit about my health journey and me coming from a family background that dealt with high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. And then another topic that a lot of people are talking about now, but self-care, right? Self-care is not selfish. It's something we have to take care of. And it's not necessarily going to the spa, but it's mental health renewal. And so this book really was a journey of health discovery for my own self, something that I felt like over the 15 years that I practiced as a pharmacist, what I saw. And I wanted to be a beacon of light and not feel like I was coming down on people. A lot of times, when you go to the doctor, I've had my doctor just tell me, you need to lose weight. Well, excuse me, I think I know that, but what can I do? What's the approach? What is it that this number means? You get this BMI number, but I also talk about people knowing the numbers of how much fat you have on your body, right?
Mhm.
Because to me, that's an important number. What is the percentage of fat? And there was one point where I was more fat than muscle. Now I'm more muscle than fat, and I'm so excited. And so I think that besides just looking at that number, understanding what that number really means. What does that number break down? And so I feel like if you know more, you'll have more of an appetite to make those small changes. I'm all about small changes, and that's what that book is about. So if you need help with just implementing some processes, making those small changes, this book definitely will be an asset to your life.
Yes, I mean, what I really like about it is that you do not have to be a doctor to understand this book. And so anyone can pick it up and understand some basic things, like some of the numbers you talk about is your cholesterol panel, your blood
Mhm.
pressure, because those are numbers that everybody should know so that we can kind of monitor how we are doing. I also like that you get into some specifics about the omega fatty acids and what foods have those, salmon, so it was really good information.
Right,
I
right.
really enjoyed reading it.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And like I said, I knew I had to put this book out, and I can't believe that was 2019, well, 2020 when it actually came out.
Absolutely. So I'm very interested to learn more about your spices because I saw there's no MSG, it's gluten free, sugar
Yes.
free too, right?
Yes.
So how is this? How did you do that?
So I created Dr. Flavor Spices while I was actively working as a pharmacist. I was part-time because after I had my babies, I said I have to go part-time. And prior to that, like I said, I was cooking, I was catering. And so one day I was in my kitchen and I looked on my counter and I said, why do I have to use all of these things that make my food taste good? And I had already started preparing meals for people. I was meal prepping, and they were like, your food tastes so good, but it's healthy, right? So it just dawned on me that I had to take the thinking out of cooking for people. So I created a line of spices that not only was is flavorful, but it had to be lower sodium because one of the ones that I was constantly using, I knew I couldn't use too much because it was just too salty. And a lot of people use it, right? And I was starting to use a lot of herbs and spices. So our spices have 8 to 13 herbs and spices. I knew they had to be lower sodium. In 2021 or 2022, no, 2021, I came up with a no salt line as well. And I just believe that people think that eating healthy means boring, but if you know how to flavor your food, that's where Dr. Flavor Spices comes in. Like I said, with having all of those herbs and spices in there, there is salt, but the content ranges from 85 to 100 milligrams of sodium versus a lot of the common ones that we use in the store typically start at about 225 up to 375 milligrams per serving. And so when you're eating food that's already processed, it already has a level of salt in there. And then we're shaking more salt on our food. So I just realized that we had to do something for me to help the community. I know that one of the biggest things for me was the flavor, hence Dr. Flava Spices. So I wanted to make sure that people could get in the kitchen, cook their food. I actually came up with each and every formula. They are handcrafted and hand blended by myself, and they're made in small batches, and they're made with love because I have really such a passion. There's no fillers. So a lot of, if you go in the store, a lot of us, we don't read our labels. We don't pay attention to what we're shaking. We're just like, oh, this is my seafood seasoning. This is my chicken seasoning. But they use cornstarch as a filler. They'll even use flour as a filler. So you're not really getting all of the garlic, the thyme, the onion. You're getting a lot of other fillers. You're getting dyes. So I have no dyes in any of my seasonings. And I wanted to give people something that they could understand and read the actual ingredients. So that's how Dr. Flava Spices was birthed in 2017.
Congratulations. So where can we get Dr. Flava Spices?
So Dr. Flava Spices, you can go online. We are e-commerce store. Damn, that's what it looks like. Dr. Flava Spices. So you go to www.drflavaspices.com and you can purchase our meal prep bundle, which is our number one selling bundle, because a lot of people are trying to learn how to meal prep. You get 5 different blends. They're all very delicious. You don't have to think about, well, what do I put on this? If you shake any of my seasonings on any of your food, it's going to taste good. You can't mess up. And that's what I love. If you go to Pinterest and like, put a little bit of thyme, put a little bit cumin. Thyme and cumin, I love them. But if you don't know how to use it, if you use too much, your food will taste just overly powerful and potent, because a lot of these herbs they are very potent. So you have to be very mindful. So I took that guesswork out for you. You don't have to think about it. Our blends have everything that you need in there, from thyme, oregano. Some have lime, some have lemon, and they just taste really, really delicious.
Outstanding. So, can you please tell us a little bit? Because I've seen you've done some cooking demonstrations and you do a lot of education as well. So, can you tell us a little bit about that as well as your nonprofit organization?
Absolutely. So I am the Wellness Advocate Director at Communities in Cooperation. This nonprofit is my mother, Dr. Pamela Boykin Jones. She began this nonprofit in 2004, and it's based in New Jersey. However, I'm here in Atlanta. And so I am developing the Wellness Wins division here. And we began this, a lot happened in 2020, right? We were all trying to figure out, what are we going to do? So in 2020, we were like, what are we going to do with our youth? I started doing virtual cooking classes with them. And that just spelt over into this past summer. She said, I think that you're ready to start your journey here with Communities in Cooperation. We got to continue this legacy. Her legacy is dynamic. She focuses on so many different areas, but my passion is health. And I do monthly free wellness workshops with cooking demos. It's called Nourish and Thrive. And basically, it is open to the community. And we talk about the direct correlation of food and certain diseases, the inflammatory process in the body, how that's linked to a lot of diseases that we're seeing, especially in the Black and Brown communities. And then usually I give them lots of resources. So you may they've gotten a grocery list, anti-inflammatory grocery list, lots of yummy, delicious recipes. I actually do a live demonstration cooking demo, so they can see in real life, like, she's not playing, like, this food really tastes good, and they get to see how to build their meals. And we talk about that, because a lot of times, just with the standard American diet or the SAD diet, what do we see? We see a lot of maybe like meat and potatoes, meat and rice, or, a lot of starchy. If you look at most fast food restaurants, you get something that's on bread. You may get a little tiny piece of lettuce, but most likely you don't. You get sauces, you get meat, and then you get French fries. And so I just tell people, typically, even when you eat that kind of food, you're still hungry like 2 hours later. So when they come to my workshops, we'll do some type of lean protein, whether it's salmon, shrimp, we eat good. Uh, Chicken, we'll do a green leafy vegetable. So I show them how to make salads, create their own dressings. And then I like to have a healthy fat. So I'll usually add some avocado, and I'll do like an avocado salad with cucumber, avocado, and lime juice, bell peppers and onions. And they don't even eat a full plate, but they say, I feel this tastes really good. You don't feel bloated. You don't feel overly stuffed. It's because we're building our plates in a way where we're getting all of those nutrients that we need. And so that's what I believe a lot of us need a better understanding. I had to even do that for myself. If I'm on the go, Dr. Shani, I realized like I was like, oh, I need something green or I need some avocado. And
Mm.
the reason a lot of us overeat because we'll snack and eat some chips. The chips really, is it really
They're not
doing anything?
filling they're not
It's
filling and
not.
there's no nutrients in it.
Exactly. It's just like that hand mouth. Your brain is like, okay, I'm chewing. So I'm satisfied for a moment. And then you're like, I'm still hungry because nothing was provided. Like you said, it's just empty, wasted calories. But the taste, right? It's that taste that we're like, ooh, that dopamine pleasure center is like, yes, I have my salt, I have my flavor, I have that fat, that grease. But it's all about still getting those things in a healthier way. So the avocado's that fat, you get your
Mhm.
green leafy vegetable that gives you that crunch. You're getting the seasoning, that's the salt. You're getting your protein from either whether I have salmon or shrimp, and people feel satisfied. And so just changing and helping to shift those mindsets, just to create an open mind to this is what I could eat. It tastes good. This is
Mhm.
something I can do at home. Because I never want to create something that they're like, oh no, this is too much. They feel like, oh, I can do this. So they typically do leave with recipes. They can purchase my spices right there. And it's just a great place. I call it my other family.
Awesome. So that's amazing work that you're doing. For people that are watching that are interested in maybe participating in your demonstrations or cooking classes, where can they get more information?
Absolutely. So that is with Communities in Cooperation. So it's cic-nj.org. And they'll go to the events page and they'll be able to see the different events. So just be on the lookout and make sure you're there. Stay plugged into my social media at Dr. Flava Pharm D. And you can follow at Communities in Cooperation Inc.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Flava, the Wellness Foodie Pharmacist, for joining the coalition. I'm hopeful you'll come back another time. Is there anything else that you would like us to know about what it is and what you do?
Absolutely. I just want to encourage people to understand that you can help yourself. And what I mean by that is it's about making those small changes each and every day. And I'm all about proactiveness, right? We don't want to have to wait for a diagnosis to say, "Oh my goodness, I need to make a change." And there's so much information out there. Do this diet, do this diet, do this diet. But the one thing that stays true no matter what when you compare most diets is that if you stick to green leafy vegetables, a lean protein, healthy fats, that is pretty much we're hearing a lot of about perimenopause. That's pretty much the diet that they're telling you that you should eat, right? You can go plant-based, but you still want to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that you need. So don't allow all of the hype, all of the craziness that's online to get you so over inundated with this information that you say, well, just forget it. I'm not going to do anything. Eat food. This is my other tip. Eat food that makes you feel good. Get away from good and bad. Strawberries are great. I cannot eat strawberries. They give me acid reflux, you know? So there are certain foods we labeled. I used to do this good and bad, but it's not about good and bad. It's about eating food that supports you, that helps your body, that supports your body, and that's going to make you feel good. And when I eat a certain way, I have more energy. I'm more ready to exercise, right? And I look better. My skin looks better. My mood is better. So I just believe that people can experience, and they don't have to be a doctor, like you said. You can experience a healthy and whole life. It's all about making those small changes, eating food that serves you, eating food that makes you feel good and look good.
Absolutely. So, a lot of what I do is weight loss surgery, which is very effective for the treatment of obesity. But what I'm
Mhm,
always trying to make sure everyone understands is that it's a lifestyle change that we still have,
mhm,
be consistent. It's not a diet, it's a way of eating day to day. And so
right.
I really do believe in the greens, the protein. I try to have people really limit how much carbohydrate they're eating, especially refined carbs and sugars and things like that. In your book, you also mentioned the sugary drinks, which is another part of
Mhm.
the epidemic. So
Right.
really trying to focus more on water and staying away from sodas and things like that. So thank you so much for helping get this good information out there. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the coalition. I know that was another impactful episode. Thank you to Dr. Flava for coming and sharing her expertise as a pharmacist who has branched off into making healthy spices and using her culinary skills to educate us on healthy but tasty meals. I hope to see you guys soon. You can connect with Dr. Flava on Instagram. You can connect with me, Dr. Shani Belgrave, www.drshanibelgrave.com. I'll see y'all next time.